Edify Math and Science. Today we're going to talk about the topic on acids and bases. This is a major topic in the secondary 2 science under the physical and chemical changes. So there are many concepts that we need to know, so let's learn about it. What are acids? Acids produce hydrogen ions when dissolved in water. What does it mean by that? So if you can take a look here, okay, we have the hydrogen chloride acid here. So when hydrogen chloride acid is dissolved in water, you see that it will separate into hydrogen and chlorine ions. So when they are able to do that, there are hydrogen ions present, then they are acids. Okay. However, if you dissolve them in other substances, they cannot separate. If they cannot separate into its respective ions, then they are not considered acids. So for example, the one over here, you see that it is still a molecule. Hence, this is not an acid. Alright, so only when it is able to separate into the respective ions with the presence of hydrogen ions in particular, then it is an acid. Okay, so during exams they can ask you what is an acid. Then you must be able to answer point number 1, produce hydrogen ions when dissolved in water. Okay, so during exams they can also ask you what are the properties of acid. So number 1, it turns blue litmus paper red. So this is a simple test that you can do in the laboratory to test whether it is an acid or not. So it will turn blue litmus paper red. Alright. Secondly, it will it tastes sour. The pH is less than 7. It can conduct electricity in aqueous state. So what does it mean by aqueous state? Aqueous state means it is dissolved in water. Okay, when dissolved in water, it can conduct electricity due to the presence of the ions in the water. Alright, so the next thing that you need to know is the strength of acids. Okay, how do you know whether an acid is strong or not? An acid is strong if, number 1, it can dissociate fully when dissolved in water. What does it mean by dissociate fully? Dissociate fully means it will be able to separate, okay, all the acid molecules are able to separate into its respective ions. So you see the hydrogen chloride acid, hydrochloric acid, will separate into the H plus and Cl minus. So everything is separated. All the molecules of HCl are separated. However, for weak acids, they only dissociate partially when dissolved in water. Means not all the acid molecules will dissolve into its H plus and the other ion. So for example, here you can see that this 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 acid molecules did not dissociate at all. Only these 2 dissociate into its H plus and the other the COOH minus ion. So only part of the acid molecules dissociate. So we call this a weak acid. So example of such acids are ethanoic acid, which is your vinegar. So they are considered weak acids. Alright, so the next thing we need to know is the basicity of acids. What is basicity? Okay, it's the number of hydrogen ions formed when a molecule of acid ionizes in water. So for example, if you see HCl, HCl only has 1 hydrogen ion per acid molecule. So you call this monobasic because it's 1 hydrogen ion per acid molecule. Then for this one, the sulfuric acid is called dibasic because for every sulfuric acid molecule, there are 2 hydrogen ions. So this one you call it a dibasic acid. Okay. Then so there are also those that has 3 hydrogen ions per acid molecule, which is the phosphoric acid. It's tribasic. So but phosphoric acid is a weak acid now, even though it has 3 hydrogen ions when dissolved in water. So for example, only this particular acid molecule dissociate into its hydrogen and the phosphorus ion. So that's when you can see that it is a tribasic acid. Alright, So that is what we know about acids. So in particular, this is the properties lah, huh? Then the other family in this particular topic is bases. What are bases? Okay, a base, it is any metal oxide or hydroxide that will react with acid to produce salt and water. Okay, acids, there are two kinds. One is soluble, one is insoluble. The soluble one, we call them alkalis. Okay, the soluble ones are called alkalis. So what are alkalis? So same thing. This is the one where you need to know the definition. Alkalis produce hydroxide ions when dissolved in water. So just now acid is produce hydrogen ions. Alkalis produce hydroxide ions when dissolved in water. So in contrast, just now acid produce turn blue litmus paper red. Alkalis turn red litmus paper blue. Okay, so one is sour taste, the other one is bitter taste. All right, and then just now the other one, pH is less than 7. This one is pH more than 7. Okay, it also has a soapy feeling, which means most of our soaps, the one that you use to bathe, they are actually alkalis. Okay, so how do you recognize whether they are alkalis or not? If we are looking at just the name itself, they are all something oxide or something hydroxide. Okay, so they have these names. Okay, then these two, what kind of reactions do they have? So you need to know the general equations here. Acid plus metal give you salt plus hydrogen. Acid plus carbonate, salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. Acid plus base, salt and water. Okay, and the last one, acid plus ammonium salt, salt plus ammonia gas plus water. So not all schools will go through this during the for Sec 2, but during Sec 3 they will you will sure need to know this. But for now, the minimum that you need to know is the first 3. Okay, so this knowledge that we are learning now is very important. Even up to Sec 3, Sec 4, you will still need to know all these. So ensure that you remember this very well. Okay, then the next point. Okay, what kind of questions can come up? So for MCQ, they can ask you simple things. Which of these are alkaline? Okay, so recall, just now we got learned, alkalis have bitter taste. So then this may be one way that you can check whether this thing is an acid or not, or alkali or not. So chicken curry, I don't think it tastes bitter. Okay, so 1 and 2, distilled water, water no taste ma, so it is not an alkali. Okay, soft drinks generally is the one that is bitter here is really toothpaste. Okay, at the same time, if you know toothpaste, okay, they turn red litmus paper blue. So but you don't have anything to test with. So all these are knowledge that you have to remember. Soft drinks are acids. Okay, this one is an acid. Okay, what acid is there inside? In particular, it is the carbonic acid. So remember, don't drink too much soft drinks. Otherwise, if acid react with your teeth, acid, your teeth is calcium. Calcium is a metal. Acid plus metal will become salt plus hydrogen. That's why there are a lot of people, if they don't take care of their teeth, they drink a lot of soft drinks. It will corrode your teeth, okay, and then it become salt plus hydrogen. So imagine your teeth start to become hydrogen already. That's when it starts to corrode. Okay, so there's carbonic acid and inside. That's why you have all it's a gassy drink due to the presence of carbon dioxide inside. So when carbon dioxide dissolves in water, it will produce the carbonic acid. All right, so this is an acid. So the only alkali here is D. All right, the only alkali here is D. So just now we talked about, so we recall alkalis have bitter taste, right? But besides this property, we also recall pH is more than 7, turn red litmus paper blue. Okay, then what is pH actually? So back to also okay, pH is something that allows us to test whether how strong an acid is or how strong an alkali is. Okay, we'll talk more about it later. Okay, So what other questions can you do we need to know? Okay, so we have a compound, let's say this, a compound P reacts with hydrochloric acid to produce carbon dioxide. What would the compound be? So just now I asked you all to remember the few general equations that we have. Acid plus metal, just now we talked about the calcium one, acid plus metal, salt plus hydrogen, acid plus carbonate, salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. So we have an acid here. This particular P has to be a carbonate in order to produce carbon dioxide. Okay, so what would this compound be? So over here we only have one thing that is carbon, that's a carbonate. So hence answer would be C. Okay, so recall these are acid plus carbonate, salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. Okay, once you recall, then you must know your mistake. So you see potassium chloride, this is not, it is not a carbonate, so it won't produce a carbon dioxide. That you see it's carbon dioxide, so it must have the word carbon somewhere, right? So if don't have, then D cannot be lah. So similarly, you look at A and B, they also don't have carbonate inside. So cannot be cannot produce carbon dioxide lor. Alright, so the only carbonate here is aluminum carbonate. Hence the answer has to be that. Okay, so besides MCQ, then we also have the this is the open-ended question. So we recall again now, we learn acid plus carbonate, salt plus carbon dioxide plus water, acid plus metal, salt plus hydrogen, acid plus base or acid plus alkali is salt plus water. So let's take a look at this. They want us to identify acid X. Okay, so we look at all these what kind of acid would it be? So if you look at it, so let's see whether this answer is we need to remember acid plus carbonate, salt plus carbon dioxide plus water, acid plus metal, salt plus hydrogen. Okay, so let's say, is this answer correct or not? Okay, so X is carbonic acid, as there is a presence of zinc carbonate, showing that there's carbonic acid. We see whether, so why is it that we cannot say that this is correct? Carbonate, right? Carbonate will produce the carbon dioxide, which is the gas B. It wouldn't produce the salt. Okay, it wouldn't produce the salt. Okay, so we recall salt name with chloride means got hydrochloric acid. The name with sulfate will produce sulfuric acid. Okay, not produce, means sulfuric acid is present. If it's nitric acid, then you'll produce a salt name with nitrate. Alright, so that's why this fellow's answer is wrong. Okay, this fellow's answer is wrong. Alright, so take note doesn't mean that got the word carbonate means carbonic acid. No, carbonate shows us that, okay, you will produce a gas called carbon dioxide. Alright, the one that affects the how you know whether there is what acid it is, check the name of the salt. In this case, on the left side, they never tell us the name of the salt. As such, I cannot guarantee what acid it is. However, on the other side, on the right side, we see magnesium sulfate. So just now I say, from the name of the salt, you will know what acid it is. So over here they state sulfuric acid for those that is sulfate. Hence, X should be sulfuric acid, as the name of the salt, magnesium sulfate, shows that there is the presence of sulfuric acid. So do take note, how do you know what acid it is? Check the name of the salt. Sulfate means sulfuric acid, chloride means hydrochloric acid, nitrate means nitric acid. So this one, like I say, even up to Sec 4, you will still be seeing a similar question. Alright, so over here we see salt plus water. Now that you know this is sulfuric acid, okay, if you know this is sulfuric acid, then you can tell me what are the salt names already. Sulfuric acid, they react with zinc carbonate. So this one has to be zinc sulfate. Because of the presence of carbonate, you know that this is carbon dioxide. So step by step, you would be able to see what are the items that are inside. So what is C? So C, they add potassium hydroxide. So with the name potassium and the name sulfuric acid, so you got potassium sulfate. Alright, and then for here, just now we learned acid plus metal, salt plus hydrogen. Hence, over here, you can guess that this is hydrogen. In that way, you are then able to guess what are all the substances that are present. Alright.